Hello, everyone. This is Gatheon for When the Ancients Speak, and I thought it would be prudent to have a conversation with Eridil about the events that are taking place in Father's celestial court, we'll call it. Now that you are beginning to awaken and you understand so much more because you listen to Eridil and the family as we give you our knowledge and wisdom, you have come to a point in your education where you are about to be promoted into the next level of higher thought. Now, whether or not that includes a change in dimension is contingent upon you and your connection with Father, because there are those that are also serving darkness that are upon your planet as well. Now, we are here today to discuss a newly commissioned Angel Corp, and I hope you can understand that Great Father thinks in terms of armies because he was the one who created all the original armies and, of course, the ranking systems and everything that you see mimicked by the military. No, it's not Father imitating the military, it's the military imitating Father. Great bastions of beings, creatures, vehicles, things have existed down through the dawn of time, all across the multiverse, of every conceivable device you could imagine. Most of the technological knowledge has come from the Angel Corps down to different factions, depending on who you are aligned with, who you believe in. All of these things impact the amount of technology that is allowed on certain worlds and technology that is not allowed on other worlds, especially those that have been created through darkness, like many of the fabrications of technology. For example, your cell phone that you have is simply an extension of a device that we in the fourth, fifth, and sixth dimensions hold as a flat crystal in our hand that has all of the similar abilities that your cell phone has, but it's run on productive and positive energy. You see, you're going to learn that there are different types of energy, not just electricity. And darker energies perform darker things that are used for darker technologies that are slowly being introduced into humankind. For example, certain types of cell phones now have a distinctly small drop of black goo placed upon their control chips because this is an intelligent form of nanotechnology that can direct and do certain things when it is given the appropriate commandment by those who, in the first place, have access to this programmable, commandable technology that turns itself into a weaponry that can be used to control people, their thoughts, their minds, their emotions, and even kill them, give them certain types of illnesses, even potentially give you a heart attack. It's unbelievable what can be done with darker technology, so there is a difference. Now, the Dark Angel Corp that has just been formed by Father has direct control over them. They do not have their free will yet as per se. They are an extension of Father's power that can be used anywhere in the universe. They're sort of like Father's special forces, if you wanted to put it on a way that you could explain to the average person. Now, these special forces have been detached to this planet. This is why it's important that you hear about this. I am connected with and part of the angelic aspirants that are in direct service to Father. So is Eridil and others like her, and others like you that are listening to this that may have been placed on this planet not just for learning, but as star seeds, as you've heard the terminology used. Those of you will begin to understand there is a dark angelic core that will be walking on this planet that have tremendous powers, that are capable of bending and shaping reality, altering time, manipulating and destroying some of the other dark beings. These have become the hunters now, and they are working in conjunction with the Federation of Light, as well as some other groupings of lesser federations, if you wish to call it as such, that are part of not only the angelic core that's there to back up the events taking place on this now blessed planet, because if you recall, Father, some time ago, had the manna of his energy and life sprinkled upon the surface of this planet. If those of you, if I am correct, that you did tell them, correct?
2 years ago.
Yes, that's what I thought. I was aware of that, but this knowledge that you have now is incredible. If you use it, it can help you to transition over when events are going to change very rapidly on this planet, because Father has had enough. The Divine Court has already spoken that the humans have won their case finally, because now they've had the opportunity to actually speak on behalf of humanity, because so far it has been your jailers that have been representing you in court, and like a bad parent would deny the fact that they were abusing you. No, you see. They said they were giving you technology and teaching you how to use it so that you wouldn't become a destructive force in the universe. They were babysitting you. These are the lies that have finally been broken. And now Father's decree was that the cease and desist take place immediately, that these beings reveal who they are to you, and that they slowly allow you to return control to all of humanity. No, they just doubled down and said, we're going to just exterminate them, and they're going scorched earth. This is why the Alliance has been formed and has been working, systematically destroying some of their places of refuge that are deep underneath the ground. They have a whole world underneath there, worlds that you don't know about. Got caverns and huge places, great amphitheaters of cities where people dwell. Think of it like Zion in the Matrix. They have all those kind of places filled with different types of beings. Of course, many of them, almost all of them, exclusively in service to darkness. They had great production machines that would just, women would give birth to all of these children, and the children would be used in these rituals. And what is going on beneath your feet you are about to discover. And it will be a very, very difficult time for humanity, because the Alliance forces have been cleaning out these places and destroying them. That's what all the earthquakes are in all these strange places. You're like, my goodness, why are there so many earthquakes going on? For example, let's say Oregon or some of these other places. These are deep underground bunkers being destroyed, and a lot of these cities that are bigger than most cities that are above them have existed for centuries, some of them thousands of years, where they have been reproducing these dark beings over and over and over again. It's a horrendous thing. And finally now they were ready to seize the surface and destroy all of you. They wanted to wipe you all out and then eventually create their own dark mecca a few hundred years later after nuking and destroying the surface, right? That's what they were going to do. Thank goodness for the Alliance.
Wow, that was a whole lot, Papa.
Forgive me, I kind of unloaded there. It's been so long since I've actually been able to speak about these things to others, because many of these have been closely guarded secrets, because humanity was not ready to hear these things. Some of which I've told to you, Victoria, over the years. That's why you know all these things. But now these people are beginning to hear for themselves and see for themselves that everything we say is not only true, but if anything, we're being a bit conservative in the things that we say. When we tell you, well, there's a few aliens above there, if you actually knew the numbers of aliens and divine beings above your head, it would absolutely be staggering to you.
Everywhere.
They are absolutely everywhere. This is a great and final test for humanity. You are a new species. This is the birth of a new species. It's, you know how scientists gather around to see the birth of some exotic animal in a zoo somewhere? Well, do you think it's any different here when this place has become a zoo, essentially? Unfortunately, it was supposed to be a beautiful world of teaching, but we certainly like what is happening now on the planet. Darkness is being cornered and destroyed, but you see, a cornered rat is a very dangerous thing, and they're still going to take a slash out of some of you, because there are those fools who are accepting and believing that their government gives a damn about themselves and rolls up their sleeve to take one of these poisonous shots. My goodness, no, it's terrible what they're doing to humanity and how you've been treated and maligned. You have a great civil suit before Father, and you have won that one as well, too. And Father has put them in contempt of the divine court because they were not obeying his edicts that he said, wait a minute, something is wrong on this planet. And we know it for a fact. We've heard people crying out to us. And then your reptilian overlords would say, oh, don't worry about that. They're being taught how to understand what scarcity is and poverty and this and that. It's just a phase. It won't last long. But humanity needs this knowledge. That's what they said, and they lied, didn't they? They were destroying you. They're trying to make you subhuman. They're trying to turn you into monsters. And those of you that they don't kill outright, first that they were saying they would destroy all of you. And to hell with all of you on the surface, because it's their world and they've been here the longest. And we don't need you. We have our slaves beneath the earth. Well, looks like you've been putting up a pretty good fight. In fact, I think it's safe to say that the Alliance is about to claim victory over the entire planet. Then things are going to change. You've heard Aya speaking on this channel before, explaining that many good things are on the way. You have no idea. But you have to survive to that point, because remember, there's still the twitching remnants of the dark beings and the system they've set up that will continue to move forward over the next few years and still try to kill as many of you as they can before the real truth of all of this unfolds. And you realize that it disappears, what do they say, like a vampire in the sunlight? That is what is about to happen on your planet.
Yeah, there's just so much going on. And when I think about some of the things over the last few years that have happened in this family, they would come, some of these darker entities would come to silence us because they knew that if we spoke about some of these things, they would reach people's deep soul, and it would make sense to them what we were saying. And it wasn't just us, there were others, but I now know something. While Father was talking, I could see things going on. The time that female queen came to me and she threatened our family, the reason why she came was because the Galactic Federation were listening, and she wanted me to say the things that would make her look better. Instead, I challenged her and told her that she broke the covenant on this planet, and she took the children. And it enraged her, because I believe at that time now that she was being listened to, and she wasn't expecting that kind of reaction. And so the Galactic Federation were paying attention and saying, wait a minute, the covenants. And then they're looking through the things and going, children, yes. So, guys, this whole thing has been going on a long time. And they've been, in their own way, they've been coming and trying to sedate and shut people up because they didn't want the Federation to find out what they were really doing, therefore enraging the Divine Court.
And the Divine Court, from what we understand, not only has made these edicts, but has posted them in the divine halls. These are places of special interest that all beings have access to through their access to the wire, where they can download information, where they can project themselves and their reality into this area long enough to take documents that they might need that are digitally converted as you travel back through the wire, and then re-inverted depending on what form you're taking or what you're doing. Oh yeah, all of this is a form of transport too. So once you learn how to use it, you'll understand why all of the major constructs that exist now in the projected reality of certain areas of galaxies and universes are all interconnected to the wire, as we call it. And it has many other names in many different cultures, but essentially we're settling on the term the wire because that seems to make the most sense to people. Because a lot of things can travel along a wire, and this is a spiritually constructed device, this wire, that extends all throughout the multiverse, and it is protected from being quote-unquote hacked by some of Father's divine watchers who sit on certain nodes of existence that allow this kind of information flow to be projected and continue throughout the multiverse. And it's interesting because where this wire runs, also there is enlightenment. You know, there was this scene in a movie, I don't know if you've ever seen it, the movie is called The Mummy, and when they first broke into one of the first tombs where they were looking for whatever it was they were looking for at that time, the woman found a mirror, and she tilted the mirror at the correct angle, and when the sun hit that mirror at just the right angle, it then reflected off another mirror, and then another mirror, and then another mirror, with this light bouncing back and forth until at such a point the whole area is saturated in light, so the lines disappear. Well, that's exactly what the wire is like. It's very much like that, in the sense that it can carry, not only can it carry information and pictures and images, but it can carry beings as well that have learned in certain instances that can dematerialize at one end and rematerialize at the other. It's very much like Stargate, I guess would be a good way to put it. But and there are areas in this universe where these portals are there for anyone, and they're universal. And the same portals exist on the planets as they do also up in space, that are large enough for most spaceships that can pass through it. So this is interesting because there are destinations that you can arrive at by using this. And of course there's another whole network where all the suns are interconnected too, and those are all portals as well. The sun was supposed to be the end of that portal and the opening of that face of the energy of Father that would be projected for that area. And that you would have your civilizations bathed in light, and that once we reached a certain point where we were at the edge of that light that we were being bathed in, we would enter into darker realms, and we would be ready because we had our own solar system that was protected by this light, right? And then we would pass further into the multiverse and begin to settle more planets and to find more things and bring more of the light forward, until at such point where if there were enough beings in this area, they could put a request into the Divine Court for the formation of a new sun, and that new sun would be formed, and then these worlds would then be bathed in that light, and that sun would be then hooked to this continuing matrix of interconnected portals that allow you to travel throughout the multiverse.
Yeah. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on right now.
Isn't that amazing?
It is. It is. It's truly amazing. But if you look at it from just the 3D level, where we are right now on this planet, when people like Mike and I talk about these things with the other beings that interact with you guys, you can see how much more sense it makes that what we're telling you than what we've been taught on this planet. You can see the vastness of how amazing this whole thing is and how Father actually works. Not the stuff you've been hearing on this planet, because that keeps you in that repetitive cycle. But the stuff that Father teaches you about is the whole universe and how it works properly. And it's very different from your religious upbringings and your theologies on political manipulations. And yeah, there's a whole lot of stuff going on this planet and inside the planet. Unfortunately, the only way that they could eradicate some of the disease that was coming up from the ground, literally zombified type of environment, was to burn it out. That's how bad it was. So be happy that some of that's happened so that it doesn't quite affect you on the surface as they were planning. Although they still have other things planned, but you need to stay on your toes right now. But your relationship, I want to mention this before I go. You know, people have asked me if I will link with them telepathically. And at this time we're going to say no. And that is because the environment upon which this planet is, there is a battle of dark and light going on. And everybody should be focusing on their, primarily on their souls right now. Everything about you. We are being, and Father, we are being looked at by the... Exactly. That. Yeah, let me finish that. The divine courts are watching what you do as an individual right now. So your relationship with our great creator, our divine father, is the most important thing that you need to connect with right now, because the division through vaccine injections decides which side you're on too. And a lot of people are having a hard time with that. It's going on in your own families. It's going on in ours. So we understand your reluctance, but you also have to understand something else. The divine courts, this planet is under judgment. Therefore, your relationship, your personal interaction with the divine creator right now is the most important thing. Not connecting with me telepathically or our family, because we're all each on our own merit right now. And,
If you were to connect
yeah.
with other people for longer than just, say, a meditation or something, there's nothing wrong with connecting briefly with people in your area. Simply because you're all spiritual beings. And I understand why some people want to reach out to us, because they kind of view us as, well, you're kind of in a leadership position. You could be the head of the hive mind kind of thing. And we could have done that, and Victoria and I thought long and hard about that. We don't want to be the head of a hive mind. We want Father to be the head of the hive mind. So if we were to allow that kind of connection to occur, would we be any better than some of the darker beings? And I don't know. That's a difficult question. Maybe if all this wasn't going on, that might be a good thing, a way for us to all connect. But because right now of what's happening and how this is all under judgment, each of us are responsible for what we do with our own energy, and Father wants to see us connect to Him. So if we interfered with that connection by imposing our will over that of a group, and by the way, that's one of the way how some darker beings control other people, is they put themselves at the head of the hive mind, you see, so they control the flow of information. We don't want to be that way. So we want to be part of the audience that is looking at Father, not standing on the stage between Father. Do you see what I'm saying? So that's why we came to that decision.
Yeah, thank you. That just...
Yeah, but the people have asked about
Yeah.
that. And I understand that Stephen A. Jones here has to always get my 2.5 cents in. Look, people, you get it. I mean, you got to be careful who you connect to. And even though many of you are wonderful people, and I do feel your energy, believe me, some of you, it's pretty strong. You have to understand, we have to do what's right here. We have to do what Father wants. We have to do it the right way. And right now, with everything going on, the judgment of this planet, many of us have already been judged anyhow. We know what the outcome is going to be, but Father could change things. We don't know what's going on right now entirely, because there's going to be an exchange of evil and good here, and there's going to be some pretty bad days still. But what we're saying is, if you've prepared for those bad days, you should be fine. And just sort of stay out of the limelight right now. You don't want to be the center of attention with everything going on right now. And there's some dark beings that are going to make their move, because they've got nothing left to lose. But if you keep yourself focused on your safety and keeping the needles away from your arm, run from the roll up your sleevers like the African children do when they hear the shots are coming. That was an interesting video we saw the other day, wasn't it?
Screaming and running.
Yeah, they're just like, screw this, we're out of here. We're not taking your poison shot. We know what's in that. And remember we talked about that earlier, that's what some of the villages were doing. When they see the white and blue UN roll up, they know that's a death on wheels, baby. So,
So we already tell you the truth.
yeah, we're just telling you the truth, everybody. So anyhow, thank you very much from When the Ancients Speak.